Hello, everyone, and welcome to this course on ecological economics. Let me first introduce myself. I am Professor Anamika Barua. I am an ecological economist, and I work in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences in Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati. And today, I would like to first introduce you to what is this course all about and why do we actually even need a course of this kind? So, like today, we are confronted with a set of deeply interconnected global challenges. For example, climate change is no longer a distant threat, and it is already affecting lives, livelihoods, and ecosystems across the world. At the same time, we are also witnessing increasing pressure on natural resources. From water scarcity to loss of biodiversity, the limits of ecological systems are becoming more and more visible. These challenges actually raise a very important question, and in fact, several important questions. And one of them is that how do we organize our economies? Can current models of growth continue without compromising the ecological stability? Who bears the cost of environmental degradation? And how do we ensure that the development is both sustainable and equitable? So this course is actually designed to help you engage with these questions by offering a new lens, one that places ecological limits and social justice at the center of economic thinking. Traditional economic approaches often fail to, kind of fully account for ecological limits. So this course helps us rethink how economies function within these limits and why sustainability must be central to economic thinking. But first, one has to understand what exactly is ecological limits. What does it mean? So ecological limits refers to boundaries within which natural systems can sustain life and human activity without being degraded or exhausted. So in simple terms, they define how much we can actually take from nature and how much waste we can generate without disturbing the balance of ecosystems. And that is exactly what is ecological limits. And for this course, ecological limits is the fundamental, and this is where it actually departs from the traditional economic approaches, traditional economic thoughts. So now let's understand what exactly is ecological economics. How do we define ecological economics? So ecological economics is an interdisciplinary field that rethinks the relationship between economy and the natural environment. Unlike traditional or conventional economic approaches that often treat nature as an external input, ecological economics recognizes that economy is embedded within an ecological system and is therefore constrained by ecological limits. It therefore brings together insights from various disciplines such as economics, ecology, and social sciences to examine how we can organize economic activity in a way that is environmentally sustainable and socially just. It also asks questions of resource use, distribution, long-term sustainability, intergenerational equity. All of these are central to this approach. But what is most important is that the emergence of ecological economics was shaped by the key debates on limits to growth. For example, the traditional economics believe that there is no limit to growth. Technology can ensure that we can keep growing forever. But this is something where ecological economics departs, and it basically values the ecosystem services, and it tries to emphasize that we need to integrate ecological realities into economic thinking because we cannot keep growing forever in a finite ecosystem. So understanding this history also is very important as it helps us to see why a new framework became necessary and how it continues to evolve in response to contemporary challenges such as climate change, biodiversity loss, and sustainability transitions. Now, what can you expect from what is that we are going to learn in this course? So in this course, we will begin by building the foundations of ecological economics. We will examine why conventional economic approaches often fall short in addressing environmental challenges and explore the idea that economy is embedded within biosphere. We will then move to systems thinking and ecological limits. So understanding how natural systems function through feedback, thresholds, and resilience, and how concepts like planetary boundaries shape the limits within which economies must operate. This course also looks at human behavior, institutions, and questions of justice. We go beyond standard assumptions of rational decision making to examine how institutions, governance structures, and social inequalities influence resource use and environmental outcomes. Finally, we will explore policy instruments and sustainability transitions, critically evaluating existing approaches, discussing what are the alternative frameworks. And some of these alternative frameworks that we will talk about is, for example, donut economics, where we basically talk about meeting human needs with planetary boundaries. We will talk about degrowth, where we are trying to talk about how can we rethink growth by reducing resource use while improving well-being and equity. We will talk about steady state economy, stable resource use with ecological limits, and just transition, which is about fair and inclusive sustainability transition. Now, given this background, the question is, who is this course offered for? I mean, who can take this course, right? Or who is this course for, basically? So this course is designed for postgraduate students, researchers, civil service aspirants, policymakers, and practitioners working on climate change, sustainability, water, and development. It is especially useful for those interested in understanding how economic thinking can support more sustainable and equitable futures. Importantly, you do not really need to have prior background in economics. Only an interest in engaging with sustainability challenges, particularly from an interdisciplinary perspective, is very, very important. Now, the question is, why take this course? So first is that who needs to take? Now the question is, why should you even take this course? This course is important because it is unique in the sense that it focuses a lot on the real world challenges. And it also goes beyond theory to engage with pressing issues such as water governance, sustainability issues, climate change concerns. And the course also tries to bridge the gap that exists today between theory and practice, helping you understand how economic concepts can be actually applied in policy and decision-making contexts. It also adopts a very, very interdisciplinary perspective, bringing together insights from various disciplines such as ecology, economics, and other social sciences. And importantly, the course foregrounds the question of justice, asking who benefits, who bears the cost, and how we can design more inclusive, equitable solutions for the future. So I invite you to join this course as we rethink economics in this course, not just as a system of markets, but as a part of larger ecological and social system. So thank you very much, and I look forward to having you in this course.